Welcome to Not Like This.
Not Like This.
From professional wrestling, horror films, and everything in between. Strap in. And now your hosts, Dale Zawada and Jim Snedeker Jr.
Welcome to Not Like This. I'm Dale Zawada. That's Jimmy S.
Jimmy S. Don't use my last name so I can keep a job.
Even though it's in all of our materials.
Yeah.
But it feels weird saying it on the show.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Privacy's real big these days.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too private, I guess, but you listen to enough C-Town, you get paranoid.
Gotta be careful.
C-Town's like that O-Town.
Love me some C-Town. How come nobody's ever... I've never seen this in wrestling. So Keith Lee, big guy, WWE. He does essentially like a Batista bomb. It's a sit-down power bomb.
Okay, so you mean large?
Yeah, big dude,
okay.
Big old dude. And how come we've never seen broken arms on that type of power bomb? Because when you're taking a power bomb or anything really, it's a flat back bump. You spread your arms out, you hit the fucking mat. But they're always hitting like the legs in a Batista bomb, a sit-down power bomb like that. The legs get in the way. I can't believe I've never seen a guy extend his arms out. Here's the part where I do my bump so I don't fucking take a lot of damage here, and just a crack of an elbow, just like, oh my god, my elbow hit his knee, my shit has snapped. Like, I've never seen it. Of all the years of wrestling, that's wild to me.
It must just not line up. That's all I can chalk it up to, because we would have seen it by now. Like, it must just not line up well for that to ever happen.
Something's got to be going on.
Because you're going down, and they have to sort of sit their feet out on the way down, or toward the bottom of the movement, and you're saying like your arms are hitting their legs instead of the mat.
Yeah, they're always hitting shins or boots. Like, sometimes they hit the mat and everything's perfect, but it's fucking wrestling. It's very rarely perfect, and they're always hitting legs, and they never snap.
So are you supposed to have your arms like up higher, like outside of their legs, or are they supposed to wait till you're? Because there is like a sit down power bomb pin, where you have your legs on their arms, but that's not what Batista does, is it?
Not really.
Right.
And it's not what this guy does
not
either.
Really. So is it what he's supposed to do though? Not really. Okay.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, I guess
I'm just surprised. I've never seen it. Good for them. Good for them. And now that I've put it out there, universe, just let it happen to somebody who's a real piece of shit. Some fucking, I don't know, anti-mask wrestler. There's a lot of idiots in wrestling. There's so many dum-dums.
Did anyone
conspiracy theorists?
Oh, God.
Shit, Jesus Christ. Flat earthers and...
Well,
so I hope it's one of those guys that has their arms snapped in tweh.
Dale, it's a carny business. It's a carny business. You don't think there are going to be flat earthers in a carny business?
That's true.
But just think about this. You're worried about the wrestlers. Think about the other real carnies that put the rides together and shit that think the earth is flat. And you're like, yep, buckle me in. I feel safe.
And it's like, we trust you with tools, huh?
The older I get, the more afraid I am. When I was a little kid, when I was a little boy growing up in Georgia, I'd look up in the sky and see...
carnivals in town, and I would go to the carnival with Mom, Mommy, and Papa. When
I was little, I used to be scared of the rides because of what they did. They zip you around. It's scared. You get scared, and then as I got older, I was like, oh, I was just being irrationally afraid because I've been to many, many carnivals and I've never seen an accident. But they happen. Also, I thought it's just something little kids are afraid of. And then as I got older and I got a job and I work with adults and I've seen how they do their jobs.
Oh, you can't trust anybody.
And I've met parents and I've seen parents on Facebook say stupid shit. And I think, wait a minute, hold on. These are the people putting my rides together. Mm-hmm. So now... in the past 5 years or so, anytime I get on a carnival ride, I'm terrified.
Like, this could be it.
Yeah, because I'm like, you didn't even graduate high school, and you're putting this tilt-a-whirl together, and then you're on heroin, letting people on and off, pressing buttons. You haven't showered, and it's not that you have to shower to know what you're doing, but man,
I'd appreciate it.
A lot of smart people shower. You know? It's just, it makes me scared. Yeah. And you know what? If you work at a carnival, I'm not going to apologize right now. That's not what was about to happen. Because if you work at a carnival, there's no way you listen to this show. You just don't. Because you're in your little carny existence driving around. You're listening to Alex Jones or something. You're looking into it, bro. You're not listening to me anyway. So I'm not worried about you hearing this. But even if you do, you know I'm right. Yeah. Like, think about it. Okay, you work.
They're like, it's not heroin, it's meth.
Look into it, bro. You work where you work, right? And where you work,
I do that.
You know there are people that aren't as good as doing your job as you are, right? You're like, man, how is this person still work here?
Oh yeah, every day.
So if you think that, and I think that, that means carnies also think that. So there is a carny that's like, I don't know how John is still here. Man, he doesn't even use enough gum when he's putting the Ferris wheel up. Think about that. There are carnies that other carnies are like, God, they can't do what I do. They don't do their job as well as I do.
And they're never tightening those nuts.
And those people are out there putting these rides together.
Scary stuff.
It's scary. Oh, it's so scary.
I think about that because I always toy with the idea of skydiving. And yeah, the stats are awesome. You know, you're probably not going to die. There's always the chance. But I'm just like, you know, who's packing those chutes? Like, what's what's going on?
Yeah.
Who's flying this plane? I want background checks. I want full documentaries that I'll watch before I go.
I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to say, but there's a popular place around us that haven't there been statistically way too many accidents in skydiving.
Skydiving?
Yeah, I'm not going to say the name of the place I'm thinking of, but it's a popular place you hear ads for, and I've just heard anecdotally like, oh yeah, like once a year somebody dies at this place.
Oh, yeah. That's way too many. Yeah, that's way too many of them.
So I'm not going to name them because I got to look into it, bro. But
yeah, look into it, bro. Truth is out there. X-Files.
It's not like you're learning how to skydive from the Army or the Marines or something, or some sort of elite group that's done it a million times and safety's of their utmost concern, and if you die, they have to pay your family a bunch of money, like, automatically.
See, I think that's like when you start the skydiving, like you're baby Bjorned in. You're strapped in. And I like that because I'm like, you better make sure this works. We're both fucking dead.
Yeah.
This is on you too, bro.
Yeah, there are like so many jumps you have to do before you can do a solo jump.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a skydiving board? Or is it just like, hey, let me look at your card. Nope, you need a few more punches.
Punch.
You know, is there a regulatory board in every state for skydiving?
You can't regulate the sky, man.
Think about it, bro. Because if you could, bro, they wouldn't let us see that the Earth's flat up there, man.
Have you ever seen a cloud in a jar? I don't think so, bro.
What? Has somebody used that as a reasoning?
No, I just...
I've never seen a cloud.
We're doing shit here.
I didn't know if you said clown or cloud, but either way, I've not seen one in a jar. Oh, man. So
be careful. Just be careful out there.
So it's scary. Folks. And COVID is not getting any better. And now the attitude seems to be we're not really worried about. We were really worried about stopping people from catching it. And now we're just sort of like, we don't want the really old, really unhealthy people getting it, but the rest of you're going to get it. That's the attitude. Get it. That's the attitude.
And then your lungs and heart are going to be fucked up, and you're going to die about 20 years before you probably should. But you didn't die right away.
It's like the flu. It's fine.
We got flu season right around the fucking corner.
Yeah, get your flu shots.
Or as I call it, COVID mania.
Man, it's I don't know. It's weird when you think back to March or February when we were talking about this creeping up
4 times. Yeah.
I couldn't fathom knowing somebody that had it because I was used to SARS, the regular SARS, where it's like 2,000 people caught it or something.
Stop
And I'm like, man, I would never know but anybody that has it. I've known quite a few people now that have had it.
Damn.
Yeah. It's not.
My number is 1. I believe it's 1.
Yeah. I mean, they're not people that I know intimately, but
Sure.
they're people I know. And what worries me is I haven't gotten it yet, right? And you always hear about these weird, like these bad cases of it, and I don't know anyone that's gotten a bad case of it. So I feel like that Russian roulette, like that's going to be my number. Like I'm going to get it bad. I don't know anyone that's gotten it. So, man, when I get it, odds are. I don't know. We need JD on here. I don't know how odds work or statistics or anything like that.
We'll get Horsecock on the show. Get Moneyball here. Loves his numbers.
He does. He does love his numbers.
So
No. Go ahead. I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Do you have any more COVID?
Oh no, I don't want to really, beat that horse anymore. But.
It'll be a topic that pops up for a while.
Yeah, for the rest of our lives, probably.
All 2-3 years of it. But speaking of wrestling, WWE had their Payback pay-per-view, and Roman Reigns is back.
Oh,
and I'm very upset about this.
Well, he was out because of COVID, right? Too risky with his
he had
medical?
leukemia. Yeah, and so they were like, shut him down, or he shut himself down. Which, right, that's the choice to make. But he's back, and he's a bad guy, and it's super cool, and he's with Heyman, and that's super cool. But he's back, and I don't know I just don't know if this is the time for that. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know who made that decision. If Vince was like, "Oh, we need you, pal," the ratings, or if he had the itch and he's just like, "Fuck it." Vince said they're being safe. Vince has never lied to anybody.
I'm guessing.
I think it's the worst fucking. I hate seeing them out there. It's like when you find out one of these wrestlers is like a sex pervert and they don't fire him yet. Velveteen Dream.
Who would guess?
And it just ruins the show. It ruins the show when I see Roman. I'm like, get the fuck, go home.
Who would guess that a guy whose finisher is grab my penis would be a sex pervert, though? No one could have ever seen that coming.
Hiding in plain sight.
With a sex mustache.
Telling us the whole time.
Yeah.
He's crying for help. That's
sort of what I was getting at earlier is the attitude. I'm guessing it's a combination. He probably is... He probably feels safe just because it feels like we've been going at this for a long time and nothing's happened and testing is better now, especially if you're rich. Like, I'm sure they have good tests there. So like, oh, look, we test everyone. Everyone's clean, all this stuff. It's some of that. And it's probably some of, I just feel like there's a collective feeling of, yeah, we get it. Can we just be done with this? Not consciously. People I know that take it seriously and that wear masks and all that, they're just like, yeah, but we were outside, or yeah, but we went outside and got drinks, and that's supposed to be okay. Like, people are finding ways to reconcile it so they can try and live a life.
A life, yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's hard. We ask people to sacrifice a lot. When it's like, all right, guys, we need to stay in the house for a month and just watch Netflix. We need to watch Tiger King for a month and just smoke all the weed. Just smoke all the weed and buy Benny's out and just have a really nice inside the house party for a month.
Yeah.
But then, like time goes on and month after month and people get frustrated. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot of it too. And it's a lot of people that were on board with, yeah, we need to wear masks. We need to be careful. And I don't know if it's just if it drains on people and they need to do something, or if I don't know. But yeah, people didn't stick with it. It's like diets; they didn't stick with it.
Yeah, and
it's
I feel
dangerous.
like we're picking the wrong time. Yeah. I feel like if anything, we could have. There weren't a lot of cases when we decided to close down, which is great. But now there are. And everything's just going to continue to remain open, but wear a mask and wash your hands. And then everything's okay. And it's not. And people don't understand how far 6 feet is. It's further than you think. You know, like if you go, I was in a waiting room today. I had to get my teeth cleaned. And I like my my hygienist. And I like the place. You know, it's an okay place. But in the waiting room, every other seat they have marked off. That's like a foot.
2 feet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
2 feet tops. Now, and you're wearing a mask, right? So you're like, okay, but it's not magic. I think just the longer you're exposed to someone that has it, the more chances you have of catching a droplet.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 feet is 6 feet for a reason. It's not like every other table or something, you know. And you're gonna walk past people. I think people are done. The collective feeling I get from everyone is that these motherfuckers are just done with this and
done with it, and they're not gonna let COVID win. We're not gonna let the terrorists win.
Roman Reigns still has leukemia, or is he in remission? Or
I think he's remissioned.
He remissioned. He's fully remissed. But he's back, and he wasn't at first because he had a health risk, right? He still has the health risk, and now cases are even greater, especially wherever they are in Florida or whatever the fuck. I don't know if they're back in New York yet or what, but
they're in some other stadium. I don't remember where it is.
Cases are blowing up way more than they were when he decided it's too risky. You know, that's when you look at the numbers, that's what I don't get. When we decided, okay, close this down, we got to stop this from spreading. It still spread like crazy, and then we decided we got to be open. Wait a minute. What happened to being worried about it spreading? Now it's like, well, do you have a doctor's note? Because if you don't, we really need you to come back to work or you're going to be fired. But before it was, hey, everybody stay home. We can't risk anyone getting this. And now people are like, yeah, I guess we can because we are. And no one's going to do shit about it. And it's allergy season, which helps too. That's great. Every time I sneeze, I'm like, check my temperature. Must be allergies.
Yeah, and I'm looking for like a new place right now, and I'm like, do I fucking wait for the second wave to do its thing, and then I just do beginning of the year or something, or do I just try to do it now? Because what if we do get shut down again, and then I'm on fucking unemployment for another month or two? Although those checks weren't bad.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, fuck.
There seemed to be a correlation between the government's going to pay for a bunch of people to not be working right now, or pay their company to pay them to not work. Yeah, we're all on board. And then when that money all ran out, people are like, fuck, man. Wait, or I'm going to get fired?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it was at a lot of places. My place was one of them where it's just like, we're going to call you to come back. If you say no, that's on you. And it's like, I would have loved to have said no. And like, fuck that.
Yeah, they try and make it sound nicer than it is, and all it is what it's always been. Like, now look, we understand if you're not comfortable. We support you if you're not comfortable in coming back, and we'll support you not working here, not comfortably, while you don't come back. You know, before it was like, hey, Dale, where are you? Oh, you don't want to come to work? You're fired. But now they just say you're fired in a different way. They're like, and we support, you know, we get it. It's scary out there. And if you're too scared to come to work, then by all means, don't ever come back. And here's your last check.
And I've got coworkers who just like, I'm just not going to wear this mask for a little bit. And I'm just going to talk to this old person right in their fucking face. Yeah. I'm just going to let this family of customers walk by while I'm not wearing this mask. And it's like they're all in that like danger age bracket too, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing?
You're all gonna die.
I think there is a age. It's sort of, I would say, from like early 40s to mid 60s. There is a much larger than I originally thought subset of the population that's like, yeah, I'll play around with this mask. I don't think it does anything. Hey, man, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And it's in God's hands. You know, like, wait a minute. You're just going to take that risk? Yeah, I'm just going to take that risk. Okay, can you take it by yourself at home then, please? because I'm worried about getting it too. Like, I understand you're comfortable and, you know, maybe you don't care about your shitty existence or whatever, but can you please keep your COVID at home with you? I don't want it.
Keep your COVID at home.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's
wild.
It's way worse than it ever has been. And now people are just done with staying home. No, we're not going to do that now. There's no way, after we've done it, there is no way you're going to get people to go back home and stay home.
And even like my area, my like county, neighboring counties, like in general, Illinois was doing all right. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And like my specific area, we were doing very well. I was like, I'm so proud of everybody. And then lately, it's like, oh, it's on the rise. That sucks. It's even more on the rise, huh? It's like, now we're like a risk factor or some term or some bullshit. It's like,
right.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. I guess we're over it.
Yeah.
We were doing so well.
Don't go where Dale is. It's even worse for you. Is that's what you're saying? Is they're like, stay away from this area, and you're like, that's my area.
It's like that's where. Jeez.
I'm telling you,
yeah.
This is gonna whack a bunch more people. And we are going to all get it before there's a vaccine.
Halloween is going to get real spooky. We're going to see real ghosts this October, folks.
Yeah. And we're going to have the plague, or what do they call it? The purge.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be some crazy shit.
Little plague purge.
Speaking of Halloween.
Like the Frighteners.
That's like the only glimmer I got coming up. Not going out or anything for it, but you and I, man, if you... first of all, I'm sorry. We are 20 minutes in here. I'm sorry. The Sinister Six, Tappy Lee, Brandon, Eric from Dad Bod, Kayfabe Jim, Dave, Mason. You guys, thank you so much. As I sniffle my COVID away. I don't really know. I don't really have it, but we'll see. Thank you for your support. But we've been doing some Patreon stuff and looking forward to Halloween, the Halloween season. So I just wanted to thank them before I get into my Halloween talk. So I've been watching a lot of horror movies are popping up. I found out I accidentally have HBO because of my fiber internet package. I just get free HBO. Just comes with it. So they're putting horror movies up now. We're getting around that time.
That's awesome. I love that. I love when I find out. It's like, you have Showtime free for like 6 months. I'm like, okay, cool. What do you got? No, nothing, because it's Showtime.
Yeah, it's... I got a problem, though, Dale. You know me,
no problem.
Right? I love Friday the 13th. Do I not? Love it. I love it.
I think you like it quite a bit.
Part 3, pretty good.
It's a solid one.
Maybe I like 4 more now, though. I don't know. But... But I used to always still say, okay, well, parts, these first parts, he's alive, so it's a different vibe, it's scarier, and then we get Zombie Jason, but those movies are still really cool. I sat down and I wanted to watch on Amazon Prime, Jason Lives, which is Friday the 13th, part 6. I sat down to watch it, and I don't like it.
Which one is that, though?
Well, see, now I've always said, so 6 and 7, both, I've always said I like those. 6 is the one where they dig him up, they jab him in the chest. That's the one with Maggot Head. That's when Tommy
and the sheriff and the daughter of the sheriff.
The idea of it to me is interesting. The director was like, I want to sort of make a parody of itself. Like, we're getting ridiculous. The 6th movie, let's bring him back like Frankenstein's monster, and then he'll just be like a zombie Jason. And he doesn't move. He doesn't turn his head. And it looks like he's got some sort of full prosthetic from the shoulders up. So he does a lot of Batman 89, Batman Begins, just shoulder turning.
Ooh.
He's not scary at all. And he doesn't move like Jason, and it's not scary. He doesn't seem mad. He seems like he's just killing out of obligation. Now, I like the Tommy storyline. It's kind of neat. I don't want to get too much into the weeds about the movie. But my point is, like, I've always, in my mind, thought I really like part 6. It's kind of neat what they do, and it's kind of funny, and it's got good music and all that. But I sat down to watch it. I couldn't finish it. I'm like...
Is that Kane?
Kane may have done some stunts. That's CJ Graham.
Okay.
And it's part 7 is the one right after this. It's the psychic one, right? So that's Kane Hodder.
Yeah, it's everyone's favorite. Yeah, that's the Dream Warriors of
it's a lot
Friday
of people's
franchise.
favorites. It's definitely the best zombie Jason one. But just in general, what I realize is I am not into zombie Jason, but at least Kane gets pissed in part 7.
Yeah, there's some emotion there.
He's going after
rage.
the psychic lady, and then his mask breaks, and he looks mad, and he's going at, and at least there's some motivation there. Part 6 is just like there's nothing going on. You don't get the impression that he's mad, that he's
Can't have that. CJ Graham should have been like, "What's my motivation?"
that he's creepy. He's not like creeping around, skulking about. He's just like, and you're dead, and you're dead, and you're dead, and it's just boring. They try and make little funny jokes, and I get it. For the day, they were probably good. I laughed when I was a kid.
That's the MasterCard in the fucking water one.
Yeah, American Express. Don't leave home without
Express.
it. And then they do the James Bond intro where he's walking in his eye and he turns and slashes instead of the shot. You know, it's like the James Bond thing. And it's all clever, and I like that. But if I was around back then, if I was like 20 and I loved the first 4 and I'm 5, I'm like, okay, it's not really Jason, but it's Tommy, whatever.
After 5, they would have been lucky to get you in the theater for 6.
And then they say 6, Jason's back. I'd be like, what the fuck? You're making fun of me for liking these other ones. I don't know.
That's true.
You know, 7 tried to be serious, and you had psychic powers shit. It just lost its way. It's the puppy that lost its way. It lost its way. I don't think I could ever watch 6, 7, 8 in like even here. I was gonna sit down with nothing to do and just watch 6. I've seen it a million times and just eat lunch or whatever. I'm like, I'd rather watch something else. What happened to me? Is that COVID? Is that a side effect of COVID? You stop caring about the franchises you love?
They do say it ruins your sense of smell and your sense of taste. Your tastes have changed.
I guess so. I need to fire up a Bret Hart match and see if I get
Oh
firm.
my God. That's like the litmus test.
What if I watch it? I'm like, yeah, his selling's okay, but
he's a little over the top.
Yeah, it's just what's happening to me. I feel like the guy at the end of Last Crusade.
All the zombie ones, I'm with you. All the zombie ones, they're all kind of the same. I do like that it's essentially 2 franchises. You know, you got pre-zombie and zombie version era. But yeah, they all kind of are mushed together. The psychic one stands out a little bit. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not mad at you. Those ones at that point were just like, when's that mask getting knocked off? Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see that gross shit.
I mean, in part 6, they dig him up. He is essentially a 40-pound hollow dust skeleton with maggots on top of his face. And then they electrocute him, and he becomes moistened. There's moistness that comes out of nowhere, and he inflates, and there's flesh again.
It's lightning water.
He's still got his juicy eye is still there, all moist and juicy. And
stop saying it. Stop saying it.
You know, like he was a crusty, rotted corpse. And here's another part that fucks me up about 6. He has a headstone in the cemetery that says Jason Voorhees, and he's in a casket like you get from a funeral home. At least in part 5 in the flashback, it was just like a little shit grave in the middle of nowhere, you know, and there was just like a wooden box he was in. This is like they had a funeral for Jason.
See, that's the story. Who did that? Does he have any relatives or friends? Was it a friend? Was it friends of the Christies?
Maybe someone around here gave him a funeral.
Yeah, exactly.
Some crazy Michael Myers shit.
Maybe, you know, I was just listening. I went down my true crime rabbit hole and about all these women that marry and fall in love with these serial killers and shit.
Lord.
So maybe it was like some fans, for lack of a better term, that they were like, we're gonna pay for his funeral. I don't know.
Because he's going there. I got to cremate
I like
him.
it. I love the question. I love the questions that presents. Like, where did this come from? Who did this? Big
And
fan.
It's not me nitpicking either, because in the movie right before this, why didn't you just use that type of grave? It was like a shallow grave. It was a shitty, like rotting away wooden box. But now they have to dig. First of all, they have to do like a little cut, a little dissolve, because they understand it's going to take them 12 hours to dig this up.
Insurance policy.
It's all the way 6 feet down. They dig it all out with shovels, 2 guys, and then they have like a light glow of sweat on them. And then it's like a sealed casket like Grandpa is in, like Nana's in a casket like that. You know what I mean? Like
what if it was like what if it was like a creepy, Undertaker casket with
that's what I'm saying. Like a wooden box, it'd be cool.
Yeah, but I meant like, what if not like Thorn or anything like that, but what if it was like a spooky casket, not just a shitty casket, not a cheapo casket, but something a little spooky and supernatural too.
That would be neat. I'd buy that.
I don't know.
A cult type thing.
Maybe something.
You know what's funny? You say supernatural too. My wife was up there watching the beginning of it with me, and she's always like, "Now, which one is this?"
I use that word not talking about that show.
That's a perfect segue. It's a perfect segue, and we're not really segueing away from this movie, but she always gives me the which one is this, and I always give her way too much detail and explanation. She doesn't really care that much, but I'm watching the beginning of it now for the first time since I've been a huge Supernatural fan. And I'm watching these 2 guys in a pickup truck dressed like Supernatural guys with, they got like their thick jacket and the jeans on and like, okay. And they're looking going like to a cemetery to find a body of somebody that they can burn so he doesn't come back from the dead, which is exactly what they do in Supernatural. Like if there's a ghost, they have to dig up the body and cover it with salt and burn it.
I love that.
I'm like, wait, this is the fucking beginning of an episode of Supernatural, and then they accidentally electrocute him back to life?
Of course, cold open, hit the credits.
Yeah, it's fucking the episode of Supernatural, and then it just turns into like...
Yeah, schlock. Yeah, just kind of bullshit.
But Tom Matthews, this whole time, I thought he was like from some Slovakia or like Russia or something, because he can't say words right. He's from L.A. He was born in Los Angeles. Tommy. The guy who plays Tommy.
I think he speaks fine.
Well, yeah, fuck you. Go watch it. I
will. Yeah. Amazon Prime. I'm on it.
Go watch it. Do that. And tell me half the words he says the first scene he's in the jail cell.
I know he says maggot head. I know he says some stuff.
That's why we're going there and burn my... Like, you can't understand what the fuck he's saying. Now, Tom Matthews, I love you. If you want to come on that show, please come on that show. But I just thought he was foreign or something, the way he can't say...
He looks like a Swede. He looks like a big fucking Swedish ass.
Denmark or something.
Yeah, like he's directing Nightmare 3 or whatever the fuck, or 4.
He sort of has like the Dolph Lundgren, we say good journey. He has like this
That's weird... like Stu, that was Stu Hart.
Donald Trump.
And a little Trump. A little Trump in there. Man, leave the impressions to me, Jim.
Hey, we don't say goodbye around here in Detroit, yeah. We say give them a little chokehold.
Maggot head.
Yeah, maggot head, yeah.
And Jerry Lawler, he's a real maggot head.
No disrespect to your dad, Brett. If you want to come on the show anytime, you're always welcome.
You are burning
it's a comedy show.
So many bridges tonight.
Tonight, I burn bridges.
Tonight.
I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up about this.
That's right. You know what I was thinking about while you were probably watching that Friday movie? I once again, my mind was just like, sure wish that Steven Spielberg's fucking book was real. If we get... not Steven Spielberg.
Stephen King?
Stephen King.
Yeah.
if we get Steven Spielberg... Actually, that'd probably be dog shit. No, we'll keep it with Stephen King. He should have never sent out that tweet, Stephen King.
Jason.
That's just too much now. And especially in these dark COVID times when we're just trying to cling to anything.
He's trolling us.
He is trolling us.
There's no way he's not.
Steven Spielberg presents Jason. We'll definitely see his fucking father in that one. If Steven Spielberg did some Jason shit, it's like, well, Elias, and then he looks up at the stars.
Are you
Steve.
shitting on Steven
I'm
Spielberg?
The man, he's got his
Don't.
he's got his pitches, you know.
Okay.
He's got his pitches that he goes to. It's like, let me hit you with the old curveball.
Look, everyone's
Some
got
daddy issues.
Everyone's got a peak. Okay, I'm not disputing that, but it's not like he had a couple of really good movies. he had several hands full. Speaking of horror movies, Dale.
Yes.
I think way back in the day on Sad Clown Radio, I think when we used to do the movie of the week, I think we covered Phantasm. I think we did the original. And I love
movie of the week.
I love Phantasm. At least I remember loving it.
Oh no. Oh God, again?
I haven't watched it probably since we did that episode, which was
they've remastered it.
Could have been 10 years ago or so. I always liked it. It was creepy, it was weird, it was quirky, had cool characters, and it seemed to have like a really weird, deep storyline. And then if you would have asked me 5 days ago, Jim, what do you think of Phantasm as a film series? I'd say it's really great. It's one of my favorite horror movie franchises. I don't think that anymore. I think one was cool and all the rest of them are shit because they all add up to nothing. And I think they're like a meandering storyline that tries to be deep, but the writer has no idea what they're writing. And here's the other part. It's the same guy.
But if you want to be on the show, give us a call.
Nah, I fucking really don't care. It's the same guy who wrote all of them. So it's not like Quentin Tarantino wrote this Halloween and John Carpenter wrote this Halloween and
that's what
Danny McBride wrote this one.
Don Corleone or something?
Don Coscarelli.
Yeah.
So Bubba Hotep, that's a cool movie.
Yeah, that's him.
Phantasm, awesome movie. Bubba Hotep, I would say awesome movie for what it is. You know,
watchable. I call it watchable.
It's cool. It's fun. But the other Phantasms, they don't amount to anything. And so I finally watched Phantasm 5. I was waiting for it to come out since 1999. Yes. Part 4 came out in 98 or 99. I've been waiting in it. Oh God, does it end on a fucking weird cliffhanger ending? And I'm like, I can't wait for the next one. Well, I had to wait a long ass time. And then it finally came out and I forgot. That was 2016. So I finally watched it like 20.
We were distracted.
Yeah, it's like 20 years after I saw the last one, right? It was awful. It was terrible. Now, there were some cool scenes with Reggie, the ice cream man. Like, he's like the Ash of that series. There was like some cool sequences, but I'm like, they're finally going to wrap everything up. It was the most unwrapped up story ever, and it leaves you with a bunch of questions, and it's the last one. He never had any idea how it was supposed to end. He just was bullshitting me for 30 years.
That sucks.
It's terrible.
That sucks.
And it looks like someone shot it on a DSLR with like a nicer lens. It looks like
shot that shit on the red.
Yeah, it looks worse than that. And I don't get it. Like fucking House of the Devil probably had a $4,000 budget. And that looked cool. This was, man, it was bad. The writing was, I'm convinced this guy wrote all of this when he was 15. He wrote all of it when he was 15. If you told me a 15-year-old made that, I'd be like, that's pretty impressive. One day he's going to go on and make some really good shit. It doesn't go anywhere. There is no depth. It's not like, well, the studio's holding me back, or okay, now it's 2016, you could do whatever you want. Everything's cheap to make. It's all on digital. God, the special effects look terrible. Terrible.
Worse than the originals?
Yes.
Which, I mean, they had an excuse then, obviously, but
yeah, but in the originals, it was like had to be a real silver ball because there's no other way to do it, so it looked real on the screen. This is like some shit they made. Somehow it looks worse than the effects from 1999, even. I don't get how that's possible, but I'm sorely disappointed in the Phantasm franchise. You led me astray thinking you had some grand plan, and you got nothing. And I would tell you to watch it, but then you'd have to watch all the other ones. But
I've seen the first three this year because I have Shudder.
Okay.
And they're on Shudder. And like I said, the first one's like remastered, which I don't even know what that means. Is it like an HD version now? Is it added scenes? Like what the fuck does that mean? Remastered. And that just kind of shows you what this Don Carrescalo is all about.
You're remastering
Just
old stuff.
some shit.
Yeah, look. It all leads to nothing. They always want you to be like, well, but what? Who is the tall man, and what is this other dimension, and what is he doing? And at the end of each one is a cliffhanger, and each time you think this next one's gonna unravel a little bit more. And the fourth one really did some crazy shit where you saw him before he was the tall man, and he was just Jebediah.
He was the little man.
This movie doesn't pick up where that one left off. And it doesn't amount to anything.
It's rude.
They keep cutting between these two like dimensions of is Reggie just old and he has dementia and this is all in his mind? Or is that what the tall man wants him to think? And he's really fighting these aliens, and it's cutting back and forth between like the real world, and it looks like doctors and nurses at an old folks home like, Reggie, come on, get back in your chair. And then it cuts back and he's got the 4-barrel shotgun and he's like shooting demons.
Woo.
And then it ends with him just dying in the hospital. And Mike and Jody are both there holding his hands as he dies. Now, Mike is supposed to be like in some other universe with the tall man. And Jody has been dead for 5 movies.
Yikes.
And he's just back. And they did at the end of 4. They're like, Jody. And he's like, yeah, it's me. And then you don't see him again.
I'll explain it. Never.
They don't explain anything. And then it's just like, oh, look, and it is, you know what? It is sad. The little scene where he dies. Like I said, there were like
sad.
There were cool scenes in it, but it didn't amount to anything. And Angus Scrim is barely in it because he was dying of cancer. But they'll show you these shots where there's like, oh, there's infinite amounts of tall men and there are all these alternate universes, but he didn't have the rules. You could tell he didn't know. You know, like when you're writing Inception, you got to know how all that shit works while you're writing it. Or at least you should. You know what I mean? Like you could tell he was just like, well, this'll look cool, and then I'll just end the movie and I won't have to explain how any of it worked.
That sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks. Fuck Phantasm. God, the first one, it's creepy,
sucks.
Boy, you know, all that weird shot. It's fun to watch the first one because the shots are creepy. They're unnerving. They're in a funeral home. There's just weird shit. And that's where it should have all ended. Just, bam, done. It's done.
Hellraiser is like a similar one. It's like, pretty cool first movie. That's it. And it just kind of fizzles out a little bit.
Even Hellraiser knew its own rules, though. Like, you take Hellraiser 3, which is like, you know, pretty shitty one. It had rules, and there was a thread going through the movie where, like, well, oh, this is Pinhead before he became Pinhead, and he's telling me what I need to know, and I'm going in and out. I'm having these dreams of Pinhead before it's him. I forget his real name. They tell you in the movie. And then she like figures out there's some way to beat them, and then I'm going to bury this thing. You know, it has like a story to tell. This is just fucking left, right, center, all over the place. You have no idea what's going on, and then it's over. Then he just dies. And he dies and you don't even know if like the first one was real or not, or if this was all in his head and he's just been a crazy person. Right?
It sucks. That's yeah.
You keep saying that, but it's true. It does suck.
Well, I know that you liked it. You liked that one since we were children. You were like a Phantasm guy, and I was like, fucking Phantasm.
Now I'm worried, Dale, if I go back and watch the first one, I'm going to see it for all of its bullshit that it is, and not even enjoy my memories of the first one. So it's almost like I can't watch it ever again.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't, but you also didn't like it like I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, if you do watch the remastered version, just so I can see what the fuck that even means.
I won't remember. The version I watched was like from Star Video on VHS. I'm not going to be able to tell you what the difference was.
I'm trying to think if there are any movies that I loved and has since disappointed me as an adult. Not like that. Not like this.
It's not even like I go back and like when I went back and rewatched part 6 of Friday, and I was like, I don't like it for what it is even anymore. This was like the franchise was better unfinished because in my mind,
that's true.
All of the possibilities I had were way better than this, and this was just trash. It was It's the worst one of all 5 of them, and it's the last one.
But Jodie's back.
Yeah. And they already
That's what the fans wanted. The fans were clamoring.
You already pulled that
back.
one in the last one. You were like, Jodie? What? Huh? I'll tell you in the next one. Fuck you. They don't. But then Jodie's not back, and then he's back in this alternate Mad Max world. It's sort of like T2 meets Evil Dead meets Bubba Hotep, because they're in like a old folks home for half of it. And like
that shit.
Jodie's or Ice Cream Man Reggie's like cutting in and out of reality. Like, Mike, how are you here? The tall man, did he trick you? I'll explain in time. He's not like, no, Reggie, remember this was you're hallucinating and you have dementia. It's like purposely vague because he doesn't know what the fuck he's trying to do.
Maybe he leaned too far into the, like, you don't want to give the answers. You want to let the audience do their theories and stuff. Maybe he went too far in that direction and didn't give any answers at all.
Could be. In other franchises, even when they do that, they tend to have their own answer. I'll give you an example. In Supernatural, it was supposed to sort of end after season 5, and then some fan at a convention was like, "Was Chuck really God?" And the guy, the showrunner from back, the original guy who did the first 5 seasons or whatever, he's like, "Yeah, he was basically." They don't tell you that, but he knew while he was writing it that Chuck was God.
Voice of God. That's canon.
This guy, this Don Maglione, this guy doesn't know shit.
He's just wheeling and dealing, trying to get his movies made. He's playing street ball out there, Jim.
My grandma was in indie movies that were this. And I think what happened was that indie movie guy from Chicago just never went to L.A. Because the shit movies my grandma were in are just as shitty as Phantasm. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And like this guy's later movies, when like everything went to digital and all that shit, they track with Don Coscarelli. He just didn't have the same budgets, but he had the same level of expertise. Go fuck yourself. I don't want you on my show.
Sorry, Don.
I used to like the first one.
That's terrible. I hate to hear that.
Yeah, get out.
That's like, you don't like them, but I kind of like the Scream movies. And they are doing Scream 5. But if that's dog shit, I really won't give a fuck. Like, I really won't care. But that's because there's not any unanswered questions.
That and like, you're like, well, who's making Scream 5?
Yeah, it's not Wes.
Imagine if all the Terminators exist as they do now, and James Cameron made all of them. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck were you doing for 3 and 4 and 5? Like, what were you thinking? But we're like, well, no, he made the 2 awesome ones, and all the shit ones were not the guy. This is the guy.
God.
This is the same guy.
He's not the Chucky guy, though, right? It's somebody else.
Because
he does all the Chucky movies. Whoever the Chucky guy is, like he does all of those.
There's no way it's him because those movies are so much better as far as like knowing how to write a movie and having a beginning, a middle, and end and stuff. There's no way it can be the same guy. I'm gonna look right now. Child's Plague. Those are also on the deal. I think Prime. Those are all.
Don Mancini was the name that I was looking for because I knew it was a Don.
Oh, and I said Mangione. Yeah, I didn't want to conflate those two. Don Coscarelli is who I'm saying.
All right, so they are 2 different Dons. 2 different horror Dons.
Now, why? Okay, here we go. 1988 film. Yeah, Don Mancini. Different guy.
That's all I give a fuck about.
Screenwriter, directed Tom Holland. Okay, but Don Mancini did other shit, didn't he? Nope.
Nope.
He did Cellar Dweller and then all Chucky movies.
Yeah. It's his baby. Like that's his thing.
Oh, I'm not shitting on him.
What it is, yeah.
But I was like, oh, let's see filmography. Cellar Dweller. Okay, he wrote that. Don't know what that is. And then Child's Play 2, 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. Okay.
And then coming in 2020, TV show Chucky, voiced by.
Well, TBA. Let's see. By June of the same year, it was confirmed that Brad Dourif would return to
Not too busy for that.
Charles Lee Ray.
Too busy for that. I can't do the voice of Chucky because I'm too busy doing the voice of Chucky. I can't do a Chucky. Can you do a Chucky?
I can't. He's got a weird voice.
Yeah,
but it's
real
cool.
Scumbaggy. Yeah, it's kind of awesome. Andy, go fuck yourself. It's
like Jack Nicholson. Yeah. It's me doing Jack Nicholson. I can't do it as well, but Andy. Hey, Andy. Will you give the man a hand?
Andy, do you want to play a game with me? Just give me your hand.
Andy, it's something I ask of all my prey. I just kind of like the sound of it. I can't really do a Jack Nicholson anyway, but yeah, you gotta have the little asshole. Fuck you, Andy.
And then he just starts yelling, Andy!
Yeah, Nicholson.
You motherfucker!
He doesn't yell like Brad Dourif. Dourif yells.
Oh.
It is Michael Biehn, though. I can say Biehn right. It's definitely Biehn. Michael Biehn. Brad Dourif, don't know. No clue. I need to hear a director say your name.
Yep.
Watch The Terminator. Watch the first one. Guess what?
It's a good one.
Guess what? Still fucking amazing.
Slow. Oh.
It's not as slow as I remembered. It's only an hour 47.
Store. Do they fuck in the department store or like in a car in a parking lot?
Did they? No, they fuck in a hotel room.
Hotel room?
They're in a car. They're in a car together. They're in underpass together.
Some Pornhub shit I was watching, I guess. I don't know.
They spend some nights together, and then in the hotel room, he's basically like, I never fucked anybody ever, okay? And she's like, what? Fuck me. And he had so much nut built up that it like, there was no way she wasn't getting pregnant.
Yeah.
Spoilers, Kyle's the dad.
What?
But that's such a excellent movie. And I thought after watching these other movies that I used to love that maybe, elements of Terminator aren't going to hold up. A lot of the special effects don't, but for its day and the budget, they still look good. And what Stan Winston had to do was fucking like crazy. Like no one had done that in movies before.
There's a story where Stan Winston was working on some other project, but it was not as good because he was like, I've got to do this other one called The Terminator. So I'm sorry that this looks like a 8th grade project. Here you go.
It was while he was doing The Terminator, the first one?
I think it was Terminator. It might have been something else, but when I hear Stan Winston, I just think I think of a man that has his priorities set.
Yeah, he nailed it in The Terminator. And you know what? The exoskeleton at the end, they do a really good job of not using too many stop motion shots. They have some, and they don't look great, but they look okay for the time. It doesn't.
It's
look
okay for that to look jarring.
Yeah, there's only like 2 where it's stop motion mixed in with the real actors. And then they would use the full torso or like a hand just grabbing a railing and the feet walking. Like they made you put it together in your head, and having that real thing on the screen, the real endoskeleton, it looked awesome. And it was terrifying at the end. I forgot how scary he is at the end with no skin, just marching at him, like limping at him. It's fucking scary. It holds up. It's still an awesome movie. I now understand why it's 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's that fucking good.
Damn.
And you know why? Because he knew what the fuck he was doing. It was his first goddamn movie, and he knocked it out of the park. He's a genius. You want to see?
Can't wait for Avatar 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12.
Can I be honest with you? I've never seen Avatar still.
Well, you're going to have to block out a whole fucking day.
Sigourney Weaver's in that.
It's a long ass movie.
He mates
she's
for life.
terrible in it. Everyone's terrible in it.
He mates for life with his actors.
Yeah, I usually like that. There's like some loyalty there. Carpenter does that shit all the time as well. But sometimes it's just a little out of place. But whatever. It's Avatar.
Michael Biehn.
I feel Cameron's in his George Lucas stage now, where I'm just going to do the projects that I want to do. I'm going to push the technology to places that nobody's ever seen before. I haven't busted out George Lucas.
It's been a minute.
In a long time.
There was a cool T2 story, speaking of the effects in Stan Winston. Do you know the scene where T-1000 is smashing the T-800's head when they're in the steel mill? He's like smashing his head with the big steel beam. Well, they mocked up like a rubber head to be smashed in there. And the second unit, I think Stan Winston was directing the second unit. He's shooting that. Have you heard this story?
No.
So he's shooting it, and James Cameron sees the dailies, and he's like, that looks like shit. That looks like a rubber head. What are you doing? That looks like ass. And they're like, yeah, it's like one little shot. He's like, I don't care. I noticed it. It looks like crap. I can see the head sort of bounce back and reshape. No. He's like, here, I'll show you how to do it. So he grabs one of like, like the $100,000 animatronic real heads that like moves and stuff and looks like Arnold.
Put some Play-Doh on it.
With the light up eye. And he's like, no, we'll smash this one. And he's like, oh, and
he can make that call. Stan Winston can't make that call.
James Cameron was the guy operating the beam that's smashing that head.
He's looking at the producers who are like, you're going to destroy the what? He's like, yeah, here it goes.
And when you think about all the hits that takes and how it's like slumping down, like that's such a cool shot. It takes all these hits over and over, and the skin's starting to come off, and it's starting to look like it's really taking damage. Well, it really did. And he's like, "Okay, guys, see, that's how you do it. I smashed it. I showed you how to do
awesome."
And then he said, "Okay, I need this working for tomorrow for the animatronic stuff."
Oh,
got him. Oh,
I didn't know that part. That's very James Cameron then.
Yeah, but you know what?
There's always that part of the story with James Cameron, which and then he was kind of a dick. But if you want to come on the show, James.
Yeah, I mean,
we're here for you.
I think it worked out for everybody involved. Yeah, maybe you didn't sleep that night. Special effects assistant to Stan Winston guy that had to make the new head, but you did make a Terminator head in one of the best movies of all time. So it's not like you were in Phantasm 3 or something.
He got a career off that. He got to work on Nightmare on Elm Street 5 after that.
The Dream Master. Oh God, Disc Replay has this Dream Warriors hat, like a flat brim, like stylish urban style wear. Flat brim hat.
Yeah, hate those.
Yeah, but I want this one so bad. But I'm like, I'm too fucking old. I'm wearing my Chris D'Elia. I'm gonna be wearing fucking a flat brim hat.
What are you saying? That there's pedophiles everywhere in Hollywood, dude? Is that what you're saying? Everyone's just fucking these kids? Why don't you go outside or go for a walk? Yeah, everybody's a pedophile in Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first thing I thought is I saw the hat and I thought I must have it. It is awesome. It's Dream Warriors. It's the cover over the entire hat with where he's holding the hand out and the blades and they're standing on a blade. And then I pictured myself wearing it.
Yes,
and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
You're like, in what weird Bill and Ted universe does this happen? None of them? Okay.
And then I realized I had a Chris D'Elia moment a couple of years ago.
Shoes? Is it shoes?
Yes. I had some basketball shoes. I have these gray and blue Air Force Maxes that I bought to play basketball in. But they sort of outlived their basketball life, and I got different basketball shoes. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear these out. I'm going to wear some cool Nikes out. And I put them on, and I just looked down at my feet wearing them. I was like, nah, I'm going to take these off and put on some grown folk shoes. I'm too 34 years old at the time to be wearing these fucking shoes out in public. Because
That's hilarious.
I don't not look 30-something years old.
See, I'm short. I look kind of young. I can still get away with it for now.
Yeah, and if you put the whole package together, it's different.
Yeah, you had your suit on.
Like there are, I mean, there's some Nikes you can wear that are sort of classy and you can look like an adult. Not these though.
You know what would have been awesome if Mr. Rogers, every episode he had some fucking fire ass sneakers.
He's like some Forces and some
yeah.
Jordans.
Every episode he's taking his cool shoes off and it's little product placement. That's what they do now because we live in this greedy corporate society.
And I'll tie it all back to Terminator. When Reese puts those Nikes on, you have to understand, this is how progressive and forward-thinking James Cameron is. Nike wasn't a big thing yet.
Not yet. MJ.
This is pre-MJ getting drafted. It's pre him exploding and being a superstar, especially when they shot it, because it came out in 84.
That was probably him trying to get $10 more for his movie.
Yeah. And it goes on, like you see it now and you're like, oh yeah, he's wearing some Nikes. What is he, so cool? Guess what? They weren't so cool when that fucking movie came out. They weren't. It was like some shit. If there were podcasts back then, you'd be doing podcast reads for Nike shoes. And then Jordan was like, nope. I'm going to fix all that for you.
I got you. So I'll bring it back to horror.
Yeah.
To end the show here,
Yeah.
because I'm sad. I'm disappointed that you had your heart broken a little bit by the Phantasm franchise. But I want to let you know a little suggestion. I don't know if you ever got a chance to watch The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. Did you ever do that?
I didn't get a chance. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had apparently, if you've listened to this episode, I had plenty of chances and just watched other movies.
I do suggest Haunting of Hill House. It's still on Netflix. And the reason I bring it up is the season 2 or whatever is coming out October 7th, first week of October. The Haunting of Bly Manor, which, I mean, I don't know, some sort of spin-off, some sort of sequel. But I'm excited about that because The Haunting of Hill House was just top-notch horror. And yeah, so if you need that palate cleanser and you haven't had a chance to take a trip to the Hill House, now might be a good time for it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh my God. I will.
Okay.
It's a series.
My God.
I didn't realize it was a series.
Yes, it is. It is a series.
What am I thinking of? There's got to be something that's called something close to that. That's a movie.
Yeah, every other horror movie is.
Right. The House of the Hill, 2 houses down on the left. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The hills have haunted eyes.
The houses are looking at you. House 2.
Of the Devil's Haunted Manor.
Okay.
So give it a shot.
I think I get the wife to want to watch that.
I think she'd love it.
She likes
horror movies. It's got a lot of heart, which I think.
Brett.
No,
just saying.
That's Lonesome Dove. But I think some of the best horror has that can pull at your heartstrings just to get you a little bit more, just to really have those deaths mean something and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. Mike Flanagan.
Good point.
For him. Any plugs besides our Patreon?
No.
.com/notlikethis. We got some good ones coming out.
No, that's it. That's all I got. I'm in a holding pattern forever till COVID's over.
Right. It's right. One day magically it'll just disappear.
Or we'll have all had it.
Oh, that's what I've heard. So that's going to do it for episode 139. Thanks for listening. I'm Roman Reigns here for some reason.
And I'm the slightly different head sculpt of Jason that Stan Winston made for Friday the 13th Part 3. You didn't see that one coming.